One of the characteristics that a bond might have is a sinking fund provision. And a sinking fund provision is going to require the issuer to retire bonds over the lifetime of an issue rather than pay the par value of all bonds at maturity. So this provision is similar to having the call provision built in, but these sinking fund provisions are scheduled ahead of time and no call premium exists. Because they're scheduled ahead of time, what this means is the firm doesn't have the option on whether or not to actually pay off the debt early. They are obligated to pay off par values as times go by. So the thing is, with the call provision, the firm is only going to exercise the call provision if it's advantageous to them. Whereas with the sinking fund provision, they don't have a choice. They have to pay off bonds as time goes by. And these are considered safer than bonds without sinking funds. So let's think of it this way. Let's say a firm has issued $100 10-year bonds with $1,000 par value and 10% coupon rate. So the payments that bondholders would be set to receive, meaning that the corporation that issued this bond would pay these out, they would have 100 bonds with this timeline that you see here. So without the sinking fund, the total par repayment on 100 bonds that have $1,000 par value would give you $100,000 in par value repayment. With the sinking fund, what might happen is the firm is periodically repaying debt over time. So let's just say that par value repayments start off in year 5. $100 of these 100 bonds, 10 bonds, the par value is repaid in year 5. And the same happens in years 6, 7, 8, and 9. So what's going to happen for year 10 only 50 bonds remain. So total par repayment is only 50,000. So it's half the size. These numbers are definitely small compared to what a corporation would typically face when they issue bonds. But the point is this: If without a sinking fund, the company would have this gigantic $100,000 payment left to make when all of the bonds mature at the same time. With the sinking fund, instead of having to pay the full $100,000 at the end, they're repaying $10,000, or they're repaying $10,000 total in years in year 5, 10,000 in year 6, and so on. And ultimately, that only leaves 50,000 left for repayment at the end, a much smaller payment, making the payment easier to make and making all of the bonds debt safer.